Uh, Dungeon.
So good.
Dragon?
Mm. Mhm, 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 mhm.
I'm gonna get water, but you don't need me for like 30 minutes, so.
What's up? Ah. Mm.
Ooh, I'm just so excited. I've never been out into the woods before. Oh, it's gonna be so fun. Well, it'll be hard, but it'll be fun. It'll be good. Finally get to see what mom and dad do all day. Well, yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think I'm gonna start to tiptoe my way out of here. I would love to. $13. Oh,
Barton has a little dog in his arms, and as you come down the stairs, he kind of mimes the dog actually waving with one of its little paws.
oh, that's so cute. Hey, Barton, how you doing? Oh, and who's this little fella?
Pretty good. This is Missy. She's a hound. She'll be one of these days. She'll be helping us hunt.
Really? Okay, wow. Is she coming out with us today?
Yeah. What better time to get her used to the smells of the woods and the wilds and all that?
Oh, absolutely. Got to start young. That's why we're here.
Hmm? Are they ready? Yet?
Oh, no, no, no. I snuck down here trying to catch you a little bit beforehand. Uh,
Huh?
Yeah, no, I think they're still getting ready upstairs.
All right.
Yes, sir. Nice,
Uh,
nice to see you again, sir.
By the way, JC, the stream is not on the. Sorry, I tried to let you know via text chat, but no worries.
I can't believe this is the best time to be up and around. There's so much to go. There's so much going on. Hmm. What do you think, Barton?
I mean, you know better than I do. You live with him
I'm
after all.
I'm pretty hungry, honestly. Personally, I think I'd rather stay in for right now. Barton, I know you've been on a little bit more than I have. What was the last trip you were on like?
It's been a couple months.
Yeah,
I mean, not many trips happen around this time of year. You know, snow,
yeah.
rain, bad weather.
Here's hoping we miss most of that. I don't want to get kind of want little Missy here to get caught out in the snow.
It's a good name.
That's what you called her. Oh. What kind of fauna would I be aware of, like in the immediate area? Like, whoa. Mhm. Gotcha. And what kind of animals? What beasties lurk in the outskirts of town? Cockatrice?
Cockatrice?
Mhm.
Shit.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Maybe while we're out there, we can pick up some game, kind of bring it back here.
Sure.
Pay back a little bit of the generosity they're showing us here.
Shouldn't be too hard to get some rabbits and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine so. You're really good at that kind of stuff.
It's just practice.
I've never seen someone catch as many squirrels as you have.
Practice.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're up soon.
I hope so too. I know we gotta get out going early. We don't want to burn daylight. It's too much.
Yeah,
So-
this sort of trip, every minute counts.
As you are saying this, almost as if on cue, Festvir walks down the stairs, a middle-aged halfling with a full beard and kind of flowing, sandy hair. He looks at you with a beaming smile. Do you mind moving my token down to the game is
A game's
paused.
closed. A game's paused, rather.
Oh, excellent. I come down the stairs using advantage of the slight increase in height to tussle your hair, Teffrid, as I make my way down and say, huh, you're up already then. Eager and
Hey, Pop.
excited for the day, huh?
Oh, incredibly so. I've never it's been a dream of mine to go out with you two.
Well, I think you're in for a treat. Gonna be a lot of fun. Now, dangerous, but
Yeah.
fun.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Gotta be careful, but yeah, no, I've been looking forward to this for a while.
You'll be fine. Just remember what we've taught you. Stick with us, and you'll be great.
Yes, absolutely.
Barton, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I got myself all packed up, got over here as soon as I could, and yeah.
So you say that. Do you have a pack of supplies and things for our
Yeah.
little adventure today?
Yeah, Barton absolutely would.
Okay.
And I figured this would be as good time as any to help try and get uh get my family's new hound a little bit of training.
Do you mind if I just kind of walk over to like look at your pack of stuff?
Go right ahead.
So I take the pack and I start kind of opening it, pulling things out, and just kind of like, good thing, very handy. Planning ahead's gonna serve you well. I'd like to pet your little pet.
Barton beams with pride.
The season's half the danger here, but well, we've got experience on our side.
Yeah, is there any kind of what's the weather looking like? I haven't had a chance to peek outside yet.
It sounds like it's snowing. Is that correct? Blustery and oh.
Freezing rain.
Flurries.
Yeah. A fine day for a hunt.
So, Pop, can you remind me what we're going after here again?
Well, and I kind of wiggle my eyebrows with like a mischievous grin. Today we're hunting no ordinary game, something I think I'd be pretty impressed to see. From what I hear, it's a manticore.
Man. Have I heard of a manticore before? Have I been told what a manticore is?
And
Yikes.
man. Now I know what you're thinking. It sounds a little, well, maybe intimidating, but for your first hunt with us by your side, nothing to worry about. Hey, you might even get the kill.
Oh, that'd be exciting. Or hey, if you go to little Missy here.
Oh. And I like to ruffle Missy. It's like, "Gah."
I'm really excited to actually be able to finally do this. I know, yeah. He's just kind of looking there. He's beaming too, just very, very excited. And absolutely just filled with anticipation. Like, he knows it's dangerous. He knows she should be scared, but he's not really feeling the fear right now. He's more feeling the, oh boy, this has been the dream. This has been, I'm finally gonna start taking over the family job now. It's been too many years.
Oh, it's so exciting. I feel like the energy in this room right now is so high. Because, like, I mean, someone might die, but this is fantastic.
Mhm.
Oh no, the someone is going to be the manticore. That's what makes it fun. It's got the head of a man. hmm
Mhm.
Now it sounds like there's a breakfast brew bubbling on a pot somewhere. I'd like to get a bowl for myself and a bowl for my wife. Good. Of course. And I am going to like reach around to give her a hug and then give her a little kiss on the forehead.
Hey, Ma. Oh, absolutely. I've been looking forward to this for so long. Oh, crumbs. I did. My coat is upstairs. Hold on, my coat, my pack. Oh, thank you. Absolutely, yeah. I'm gonna run upstairs and get ready, grab my pack, grab my winter gear.
hmm Oh, and then I will walk over to the innkeeper and pay what I owe, and then turn around and say, "Yep, just finished."
JC, of note, the people watching the stream cannot actually hear your voice.
Hmm.
Sorry for the interruption.
try that. There we go. That does it.
All right.
Bit of a weird problem. So just for most of the people on the stream, they've, she's come down, she said hello to people. It's a little bit of a storm outside, but nothing too bad. And, they're getting ready to head on out for their big day. Yeah, my, voice mod got frozen on, and since the, voice mod's the one that translates to Streamlabs directly, now we got it.
Yep.
Technology.
We have
Well,
technology.
I am going to collect my pack as well. Going to start putting on whatever winter gear I need, as well as getting my weaponry ready. Got knife in my boot, knives on my little belt loop. Got a big old bow, little sword. I gotta be prepared for whatever comes my way. But it should be fun, whatever.
She decides to gesture over Barton just to be a little closer to her and Teffrid. And she leans over and just, so for the both of you, just make sure you keep in mind if something happens, the two of you stay a little bit further back. Shouldn't be anything bad, but just try to make sure, Pops and I take care of it, okay?
Gotcha.
All right.
That's what the short bow practice was for, right?
You got it.
All right.
I mean, that's true for what I do too, right? Don't think it's demotion. Don't think it's a sign upon you. Most of the time, you try to, hit it from afar first, and you only try to use that wonderful little bronze piece of yours if you gotta, okay?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Safest if they go down nowhere near you.
You got it. Even if you end up getting it. Sometimes they're big.
Yeah.
Especially for us.
Yeah. I bet the big folk aren't nearly as brave as we are.
Fast Fear, we good to
That's
go?
right. Sorry?
We good to go?
Oh, yep. And then I will kind of shake my jacket, and you hear like a jingle. I've got more weapons in there too.
As she gets to go, she checks one last thing. Tefford, can you run upstairs real quick? I forgot something on the desk.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you need?
Just one of my notes on the actual writ from the Diamond Guard. If you could just bring that here. I have the core of it, but I want the copy just in case something happens.
Yep. Back in a jiff. I'm gonna run up and grab the writ.
Do. He runs up the stairs. She ends up looking over at Barton. You especially, please make sure you stay safe, okay?
Yeah,
I don't-
absolutely.
I don't want to have to tell anybody else that, you tripped and broke your leg or anything.
Oh, please. I'm sure my mom wouldn't let me hear the end of it, even if I actually did die out there.
Okay.
I don't plan to never hear the end of it.
Well, that's good. Tefford quickly makes his way back with a copy of the written intel.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna glance at it really quick just to double check when I know what we're hunting.
Gotcha. Yeah. You get a brief description from the Diamond Guard of the Great Barrier about how, under the cover of night, a creature that was a manticore broke through, and probably because there was a mana storm ongoing at the time, the barrier was weakened, so they were able to get through sheer might alone and actually break through some of the physical parts of the barrier, and made their way through without fighting too many people there.
Oh wow, that's concerning.
They, as a result of its short contact, weren't able to get any elements like, any thorns or bristles or hair or anything, but so instead they'd just been left to generally search the directions that it would probably be heading, given the directions a lot of creatures tend to do when they break, though. Not too many of them stick to the mountains on the western side because that's very similar. A lot of them end up going along the eastern side where it starts to get a little bit more lush and generally heads towards a lot more of the inner society of the empire. So, that's where a few teams, yourself being one of them, have been sent to go in the attempt to track it down.
All right.
Yeah.
Come back down. Got it.
She looks around. You good to go?
Aye, aye.
All right, time's a wasting. Let's head out.
Mm-hmm. Just
Well,
me.
but
Why do you think they always end up near cities? Do you think they just know where cities are, or do you think they just like going to the same places that people like going to?
Well,
it's suspected to be about a day's journey out to the east, but potentially slightly more. So it's not too near the city. It's more so that the guard doesn't want to have big issues with the rest of the empire if it ends up getting through. You know, the entire job is keeping monsters out, so
It's a lot of
Right.
paperwork.
A lot of deaths.
I don't think it's that the monsters come to the cities that often. It's when they do, it becomes a problem, and well, that's what we're here for.
also very true.
I guess, but yeah, I'm just wondering how do they know where the cities are in the first place?
You can spot this place for miles around. Smoke everywhere. Everyone's on fire.
Yeah.
Smoke, people, smells. I mean, well, why does anyone come to a city?
Mana signatures for some of the more potent ones.
But as long as there's people like us around, the regular folk don't have to worry too much about it.
Well, we're on the map and y'all can start traveling.
All right.
All right.
I know you said it was about a
this
day's
is part of
travel away.
our play test for birds like travel a bird's day's travel.
Which direction? I'm sorry.
That would be
South,
generally to the east, which it would be about
Generally
3 or 4
east.
tiles.
All right.
Okay.
And we're off. And I guess we just
Ooh, okay. How many
So-
tiles do we get a day?
You would normally get 3, but crossing a river takes 1 extra.
mhm.
So we get 2 tiles this day then?
Yep.
Well,
So we're gonna ford the river today.
yeah. Good thing it's not any colder.
I was about to say, is the river frozen over, or is it still?
It is frozen over. You're able to cross it easily.
Oh, okay. Does that still cost us extra movement?
Nope.
Fantastic.
Okay, so we do still get the full 3 then?
So you get to the you get just past the edge of what is generally the surroundings of the city where some of the last little bits of farms end up being, and you get yourself out over to the dry land just before you start hitting a lot more of the hills and mountains out of this little Caro Valley in general. You know what? I'm just gonna expand your vision out a little bit.
Oh my gosh, this horse is so fast.
Yeah, so true, so true.
No.
The sort of places that y'all would have been.
Mm-hmm. Been
This
aware of.
entire little valley ends up being a lot of the hills nearby end up being pretty barren, but the fact that there's this valley that has 2 rivers flowing into that central lake is pretty nice and gives a fair bit of nice little pocket of civilization to call the border. You end up on your last third of the day traveling out. Mr. Big Ol' Man Fastfear ends up telling everyone to stop for a moment before pointing over at a tree as there's a series of mushrooms growing out of its base. They have, they're yellow and they have these beautiful little purple, almost rose-like patterns on them that look like little flower petals.
And I do just that.
Well, yeah, go ahead. Tell him about it.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a tree. It's got weird. I mean, what he said, you heard. So I'm going to very cautiously investigate it and hold everyone else back so we can kind of keep a closer eye on it.
I like to imagine that he's probably literally doing that. It's like, be careful. This could be one of the most dangerous parts of the entire trip. As he, leans over and begins poking and prodding at the mushroom.
Yeah. Now, do I recognize off the top of my head
Oh,
what this
totally.
actually? Is
If
this
you
edible
want
or is
to,
this?
go ahead and make something up about it. If not, I'll make something up about it.
Well, my thought was originally that it was something edible, and I'm just excited
Yeah.
to see it because it's like a rare delicacy. So it's
Totally.
not actually dangerous. I just want to harvest it because we're gonna have to make camp soon, and this is gonna be good food.
Yes, it is.
Halfling core.
Yeah, absolutely. Stop right there! Oh, I haven't seen one of these in a long time. And I'll get out my little kitchen knife that I have on my belt, and I'll start carving the mushrooms off of the tree. Say, Teffrid, come here. Look at
Oh,
this.
what are these? Hold on. Oh, those
So
look tasty.
these,
What was
they
that?
are
I posted the best possible gift from Tattoo.
They're
rare,
called,
beautiful.
They're called lily blooms.
Lily blooms. That's an interesting name for a mushroom.
Yeah, it's because the little patterns on them tend to look like little flowers.
Oh,
Now, they're best fried up, but I don't think we can really afford to do that right now. I didn't bring enough shortening with me, but I'll figure something out. Don't you worry. Be delicious.
I may have brought a little bit, just in case of this kind of emergency.
I knew you were prepared. All right.
this is what will we do without you?
And Barton, I am going to tussle your hair as well while we set up. Is this a good place to set camp? I feel like we've traveled 3 things, so it's getting
Yeah.
towards the end of the. Perfect.
Especially for those of you who aren't well adjusted to doing a, full day's travel each day. Your legs are starting to give out a little, but nothing that a night's rest won't do for you.
This is hard work, Pops.
Yeah, but that's what makes it so much fun. I mean, we've already found one treasure here. What more can we find?
Oh yeah, no,
It's,
absolutely. I haven't
little,
seen a. You haven't. I've seen one of these since you brought one home. Oh, a decade ago.
Isn't it exciting? You never know what you're going to find. I mean, I do, but.
I mean, that's why they pay you.
She looks over to
Wow.
you. Go ahead
So
and
better.
tend to the mushroom. I'll go ahead and see if I can catch us something.
All right. We're going to have a
Grabs
full
her-
meal in our hands.
Grabs her short bow and heads on over.
So, yeah, I'm going to say we start setting up camp. I take the shortening that Barton brought and set up a little mushroom fry. Got some seasonings from my own pack, and we get ourselves started here while we wait for Maggie to return.
Margaret ends up coming on back about 35 minutes later with 2 rabbits in tow. Both of them have already been slightly prepared for it, and she quickly rinses them off with a little spell of create water and starts tending them in the pot as well.
Fantastic.
Chop, 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 cook, cook, cook. Delicious
absolutely.
second dinner.
So tasty. But yeah.
One
I'd
of
like
the
to think we're all
things
sitting around a
that's-
fire.
Go ahead, keep going.
No, that's all I just like to say. I'd like to think that we're all sitting around a fire and kind of talking about some of the other delicacies that grow in these parts, things that you wouldn't necessarily expect to find, like more mushrooms, things that grow like underneath a fallen tree, not just on it, where you have to really look, or like some specific animals that kind of grow here that they're difficult to catch unless you do very specific things, like kinds of baits or like traps you have to set. But that it's worth it every time.
So if these are so good tasting, why can't we farm them?
Well, we could, but it wouldn't be quite as much fun.
I guess that's true. You gotta have some surprises left in the world.
Right.
Yeah,
Besides, I think I'd get bored if I had to do all that.
that's true.
There's an old tale I don't put too much stock into that the dwarves tried to once, but they never got heard from again.
That's happened with those dwarves.
It does happen to the dwarves. It was a
I love that
real spooky mystery where they all ate it and went insane because it was too good. Everyone had it every day and they couldn't do anything else, so they all died. You get the feeling that she's not very good at telling spooky fire stories.
No,
she's not.
this is just right out of Dwarf Fortress.
So I know that she's not, but I still give like a mock horror because I want to support my wife. Like,
Mhm.
oh my god, I can't believe. Oh, my heart. Oh, you always get me with those.
Ma, you can't keep telling me about the dwarves disappearing. I've met one now.
That was only one. The rest of them definitely gone, like your mom said.
Mhm. Yeah, Ma, absolutely.
Do you remember the term for that?
Absolutely the fuck not.
Yeah. Pretend that you do. Make a well.
No,
Oh,
no, no,
you
no.
really
Like,
don't
this is
remember.
the thing. I think this is part of her, teaching him a little bit on the job, right? It's
Mhm.
extant.
Oh. What does that mean in this case? Hold on. I'm gonna take out a little notebook and start scribbling down with a piece of charcoal.
It means it exists in right now, doesn't it?
That's right.
Ah, thank you, Barton.
If we thought they were extinct and they're not, they're extant.
Okay.
Simple as.
Sorry, I would also like to amend that statement. Teffrid would not have sworn in character. That was me saying that.
He's a good
So
boy.
true.
My boy
He
would
is a
never
good boy.
swear.
She ends up urging each of y'all to get some good rest. She, as an aside, well, the two of them aren't listening, make sure to tell Fastbear that she'll take first watch if he'll take second. And
Oh, absolutely.
make sure to urge both the Chidlins to make sure that they get plenty of rest, because it's more walking and we get to actually start following tracks tomorrow. Or at least hopefully we get to start searching for them. Sorry, did the word Chidlins just throw everyone into shock and they're all having to recover, or?
No, it's
No,
fine.
no,
I'm just waiting for my turn on the watch.
So for the two kids, one of the things that's most shocking out here, aside from the fact that, your faces are still cold even by the fire as you stare up into the sky, is just how much skylight you're able to see here. All the stars overhead just gently twinkling with only the slightest bit of a little gentle clouded wind blowing through, disrupting the view. It's very serene and very different than a lot of your semi-wandering village life you've got.
It's always so interesting that even though it's so much more light, the cities have a little bit darker in the sky. Like right there, I'm gonna point at a particularly dim star. I don't think I've seen that one before. Huh?
Earlier today, we were talking about the smoke from all the fires and people's fireplaces and all that.
Yeah,
Maybe smoke clouds? I don't know.
maybe. That would make sense. I mean, people sometimes have fires burning all throughout the night, which is bad. It's not very good. Yeah, I wonder why. Anyway, it's gorgeous out here. We've been camping, but not like this. This is a lot more exposed.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting really tired. I think I'm gonna get some sleep.
It's probably a good idea. Need
Plus,
all
Missy's
that.
been on her feet all day, so
Oh yeah, she needs rest.
Missy,
yeah.
after hearing you say her name again, she moves from the part that she was at the fire and just walks over and just lays on your chest with her arms splayed out over your ribs,
Yeah.
arms and legs. Just couple.
Yeah.
You
The night is cold, but also passes you by rather quickly as the morning eventually arrives and awakes you with its light.
Crack at dawn again.
As you get up, you see that both your mother and your father are already awake and tending to a few of the simple tasks of the camp.
Guess I'm the slow one today. Here, let me. I'm gonna start breaking down the fire pit, making sure it's safe.
Hey, hey, hey,
Nah.
hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're not done yet.
still got
That's
breakfast.
like the last thing you do. It's cold.
Oh darn! Sorry. Sorry, that was just the one I had practiced the most.
We'll save it
Eh,
for you.
Yeah.
you're still learning. It's fine. We'll get all the kinks out. I'm gonna try and fix the fire though without making it very obvious. Fine, it's fine. Don't even help your mother.
You turn around to sorry, Teffrid ends up turning around to see if Barton's still asleep, and by the time after he figures out what that answer is, by the time he looks back at the fire, it's completely in normal health. Is Barton
Barton
awake?
is up, by the way.
Barton is
He's
up.
trying to extract Missy from the current situation without disturbing her too much.
Oh.
Missy is her head is right on top of your solar plexus, and she's beep, 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 beep. She's got a little snore going on. Eventually, though, she starts to slide off a little bit, and she very quickly awakes as she touches some of the ground and twigs nearby and starts jumping around and licking you and making sure you're awake, despite very obviously being awake.
Yeah.
She, runs around for a bit. She's got a lot of energy. It's a little obnoxious to actually work in camp right now, trying to pick up some of the things, because you all have to end up trying extra sure that you don't end up accidentally squishing her. And she's doing a great job at running between your legs. But eventually you manage to
Yeah.
get the job done.
Energetic little dog, isn't she?
She spent all night building it back up.
That's true.
I hope you did the same.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're going to be going a little slower today, because we're actually trying to, sometime around here, we can start figuring out where it actually went to. From what we
So train your
know,
eyes.
if it's anything like the descriptions they gave, it should be leaving pretty decently sized footprints. Note, since we've got a little bit of, this snow, it's not too heavy since it broke through. We're going to have to be looking for areas where it's more compacted and ice rather than active prints right now. But that just means we got to take our time. Should
All right.
be a little bigger. Should anything smaller, and we can safely ignore it. Unless, of course, we want extra dinner. For mechanical answers, while you're searching for tracks, you move at one less tile per day, which means moving on hills would be one tile per day.
Hmm.
Mr.
Let the
Fastbeer.
yeah, let the hunt resume.
Yes, the hunt All right, so to that tile, go ahead and just give me a d20. I'll just add your modifier since, the character isn't fully built out.
What do you mean? Of course it is.
That's
Oh, that's
6.
bad. Ah, ah, ah.
You are able to be confidently sure that there's not some here, and the next day passes by. It is now the next
Teffrid,
day.
why don't you take the lead? Give it a shot.
Okay. So I'm following these tracks, right?
I don't think we found tracks yet, but we're
looking for
going to.
tracks.
We're
Yes,
looking.
okay.
We'll find them. Yeah, around
All
here
right.
somewhere. And he scrunches up his face when he says that.
Okay, let's take a look-see here. What am I, Oh, I don't have access to... Teffrid's
Teamwork.
not on this,
Uh,
Oh, no, there he is. Found it. Alright, so this would be a survival check?
so you're taking the token on the map, this horse, drag it
Yeah.
to a tile.
Alright. Let's go this way.
All right, go ahead and give me a survival check.
There we go.
It can be with either dexterity or with wisdom.
Do that with dexterity, then.
Nope.
Yeah, that's a 9 at
He's
least.
learning.
But, yeah, we're getting there.
You're not able to confidently rule out there's not one here, but you don't think there is.
Alright, I'm sensing bub kiss, sir.
So this is one of those things where, as his father, I am letting him, quote unquote, do it, but I am actually also doing it. Can I also roll?
Yeah,
Or can I just say that I know that there's nothing here?
you can roll.
Okay.
Fantastic. You end up going through, and at one of the points later in the day, after he was starting to feel like there wouldn't be anything there, you went a little bit off the beaten path to start looking in some of the other areas, and eventually end up getting a few marks that you think would probably be likely for it.
So
It leads
when
you generally to the northwest.
when I see those, I kind of say, "Hey, Teffrid, what do you think that is?"
You go over, and you were mostly going sort of by feel, such that when you step on the ground, some of the snow gives way less, and so eventually you found one and you started wiping away, and you found an area where there's a pretty decent, probably about like foot by like 2 foot or a foot and a half area where there's a lot more ice, and there's a large series of them in sequence, each of them a little bit different. Some points are much smaller, where it's more like just 4 inches in diameter or so that are sort of pressed down, and other parts are much wider and bigger,
And this
Right,
matches what I would expect.
give or take. Now,
So
you know that there's nothing natural around here that would leave any of those bigger prints, and there's also very few things that would leave prints so circular for the smaller ones, which is very, very common for manticore-esque creatures that have different types of, legs.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
hold on.
I'm gonna pretend that he's the one that found it.
So, oh, hold on. Everything that you just said, would I know?
Some of it.
Some of it? Alright, so from what you and Ma have told me, this looks like one creature but 2 sets of feet. Oh, we're on the right track!
Yeah, sounds right. Looks like you're a natural at this.
I think I could use some a little more work, but ooh, I'm
Well,
excited.
that's what all this is about. We're learning as you go, but so far this has been great.
Yeah, it's been good to spend time with you and Ma out here.
Yeah, get to see what it's really all about.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess the next day we'll go.
Yep. So now that you have the tracks, your choice is either to continue going at the -1 pace to have advantage on following them, or you can do it at normal speed with normal rolls. The creature could be moving pretty fast through this area, so it might be important to pick up the pace and go at a more normal speed.
Mhm.
I'm happy to go at normal speed.
I am
If everyone
too.
else
Manticores are pretty quick little buggers.
You got these little legs. He's got them
Mm.
wings.
All right, go ahead and give me your survival check.
Was this be from me or?
Anyone. I mean, she'll make one herself as well.
All right. Oh, much better.
Yeah, we're fine. We're totally fine. You end up managing to keep the tracks, and eventually you end up finding one where there's been a few trees and some semi-forested areas here. And eventually you find that one of these sets of tracks ends up leading into a bit of a valley. There's a little cliff face on one side that goes up to a much more forested and more mountainy area on the right. And on the left, there's a very small brook that goes through with a little bit of shrubbery. And in the center, there's a tree, which these tracks begin to head straight towards.
You
The
said the
brook
tracks.
is,
Yeah.
given the current sunlight that it's getting, the brook actually is only mostly frozen over and has a little bit of a little bit of river actually still flowing alongside it as the water goes, including a few rocks that break the center of it that would, even in more warm weather, make crossing a little easy.
Right. So here we should be a little bit more careful, right? We don't want to. That ice can't support us like it did with that river before.
No, but we can cross if we're careful.
Yeah.
Luckily, you don't have to cross yet.
Oh,
Oh,
fantastic.
okay. We
Yeah,
can keep pace alongside the brook, following the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pretty nearby, there's these tracks end up going and looping over around towards the tree. Would you mind rolling me a perception with advantage, Teffrid?
Perception with advantage. All right. Gonna need that. Definitely needed it. Okay.
You definitely needed it.
No, it really did. Don't have a bonus to this one, boss.
So,
Wait, hold on. That's the horse.
what?
I had clicked the horse's tile.
Ah,
Never mind. I have a
Storage
+4 to that
perception.
skill.
gotcha,
I
gotcha,
was like,
gotcha.
wait a second. I'm pretty sure I was proficient in perception.
So, Kaio, go ahead. Margaret ends up, looking at each of you. Do you smell that?
Vesper looks tense in a way that you haven't seen during most of this journey, and I just kind of nod and put my hand on one of the blades at my hip.
I'm gonna get
For Johnny McTefford,
Mhm.
you end up like after a little bit you smell as well, and you end up picking up it smells a little bit like food, but the way that food shouldn't smell it. It's a very bitter, almost acrid smell. And after a little bit of, following it around, you end up discovering a few local animals killed and only barely eaten nearby, half buried under the snow.
What a waste.
So it's like a few squirrels, a little bit of rabbits, a deer, all of which are very clearly like wounded in a way that you can't attempt to identify how they were killed, but they still are there and almost pristine and uneaten. The stench remains, though. It's a good sign that you're still on track.
Do manticores kill for fun?
Not that I've ever heard of.
Huh.
Maybe it just hasn't liked the taste of anything.
Well, it should know what's around here. It should know what it likes and doesn't like at this point. Unless it's a baby manticore.
Well, it might have migrated in from someplace else if there's, I don't know, disturbances in its own, you know, food chain.
Hmm.
I mean, this does happen sometimes, where you get one disturbance, it causes another one, and then the whole thing is just a mess. I think maybe it's still learning what it likes.
Hmm. You're right, though. That is a waste.
Well, just all this death for no reason. It hurts everything around here. The sooner we catch this thing, the better.
Yeah.
I'm sort of describing an invasive species, but I don't know that he has the terms to do that necessarily. So,
I mean, it would make sense, like, if a monster from not around here showed up, then
yeah,
it would make a lot of sense as to why,
yeah. He has the concept, but
Yeah.
perhaps not the word.
not the term, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're on the right track for sure. So, let's keep
Alright.
going.
Just
Mhm.
gotta keep following
Keep on
the
marching
animals,
through.
I guess.
Well, I hope there's not more of this, but yeah.
It's something that big.
Now, none of these seem to have been eaten all the way, which to me seems maybe it's still hungry out there. Could be good for us. It's not eating the way it should.
Did it look like it was trying to eat them, or did it look like they were just killing blows with chunks of flesh gone from them?
One more time?
Did it look like it was actually trying to eat these, or does it look more like these were just killing blows with chunks of flesh ripped out?
It looks like, for the deer, it looks like it was sort of beaten. And then there's a very small incision. Like, that looks like it could have been a bite, but if it was, it didn't try very hard to eat it.
Huh.
As for the smaller creatures, they're a lot more pulverized.
Doesn't even look like it was looking for a snack. Remind me again, are these all in one area, or are they...
They're not like in a pile or anything, but they're all
Gotcha.
like in this general, area. They're along this creek and not too nearby from the tracks. And the tracks deviate a little bit along towards it as well. Like the tracks deviate for a moment to a corpse and then back over to along the creek, then off for a little bit to one of the corpses, then back to the creek.
Okay, so it
And then
doesn't look like...
Yeah, and then the last one, the deer that you're currently at, is near that lone tree in the center of the clearing.
Okay.
As you guys are discussing and mulling over the corpses, you hear a struggle coming from Margaret's direction.
Oh. Rush
Oh my-
over.
Yep, hurrying over, got the short bow out.
She gives a yell and, turns around with her blade drawn since she heard something rather nearby as she's, having not too great a time.
Excuse me?
What's going on?
What happened to my wife?
As you get to her, she's suspended in midair by seemingly nothing.
What?
She's
I'm looking around. Do I
she's-
see anything?
She's struggling. You can see her mouth moving. She's not able to actually speak. She's not saying anything, but she's mouthing words, and she's beating her hand almost like it's a victory fist where it's in the air, but it's clearly her struggling to do something above her that is just kind of flailing both her arms in the air.
I'd
Well,
like to
she's
take
starting to
one
float
of
up.
my knives.
Is she
and
upside down?
She is not.
Okay.
I'd like to take one of my knives and throw it at the air above her where she's trying to smack her hands into.
It ends up going straight through and then floating in the air, blade forward.
I am not familiar with what this is, I don't think. Do I see anybody in the surrounding area?
You take a look around and there's nothing. She is beginning to be she's just about passed out.
Is there a tree covered in snow nearby?
There is at the main tree. There's the only tree, which is the tree that the deer are at.
Oh, but she's not under it.
No, she's
Okay.
a good little distance away. While y'all
Okay.
were under the tree, she was a little farther back.
What do we have on?
Barton is staying a little bit back, looking very panicked and trying to hold on to Missy so that she doesn't run up and get caught in all this.
Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take out my water skin.
Her body she has stopped struggling. She is barely moving. She's breathing, but that's it. And she's just floating there, remaining almost perfectly still as if she was in a painting.
I'm torn between rushing to her, which is what my first instinct is, and staying with the boys, because whatever's going on here, I can't leave them alone.
I think you'd be more inclined to the latter at the moment, because even with that, you know that it's what she'd want.
I know, but it's really tearing me up inside, and you can see on his face that he wants desperately to go do anything to help her, but he is biting his lip and just looking to see if there's anything around.
Hold on.
He just doesn't see anything.
Got an idea. It's cold out, right? I'm gonna take out my water skin. I'm gonna start trying to splash the area what's near her, trying to see if I can't understand.
I don't think I would let you get close enough to do that. If you start rushing towards, they would grab you and say, "You saw what happened to my knife. Don't go there."
No, hold on. We can. You said dealing with invisible creatures. We gotta make sure we can see them. I'm gonna just start waving the water skin in your face. We can try to make it visible. We can try to see it. Maybe we can know what the problem is. Look, your knife's still up there.
Can you do it without getting close?
How far can I splash water?
I mean, by itself, not too far, but at this point in time, you probably know, like, shape water as a cantrip. That's probably something that's reasonable enough for you to have known.
I don't have spells.
Yeah, not
A lot
later
of
you
people
don't.
in this setting know at least one cantrip.
Yeah, like, it's like 80% of the population before the, if not more, before the spell plague knew spells, like cantrips.
Gotcha. Then I will take that shape water and I will... how far away can I be to do that?
I think normally 30 feet?
30 feet sounds right to me. I could fact check, but let's do it this way.
Yeah, 30 feet.
Yeah. All right, hold on. I'm gonna, like, kind of position it like a modern day hose, and I'm gonna use the shape water cantrip to try to squirt it.
Treat the water a bit like a whip, and it sort of coils around your fingers, and then you point forward, and it blasts out in a stream towards Margaret.
Does it stick to anything? Does it, like, splash onto something or hang in the air?
As it kind of goes out towards towards Margaret, it just stops in the air, just like as if it was a laminar flow, but freezes. It doesn't literally freeze, it's still water, which is weird because as winter it should be cooling down, but it's just stationary.
Much like everything else in that little bit of area, it has become perfectly still.
Okay, that's weird.
It looks like a magic trap, but I don't know.
And after about 10 seconds, it reverses direction and splashes all over everyone else.
Finally, you hear a voice come from the general direction of Margaret. Oh, how the humanoid races have grown weak and complacent behind their walls, in the comforts of one another.
Who's out there? Show yourself!
We're armed!
No.
I've got my bow out.
Same.
You hear? They're armed!
Not as armed as us.
I don't like the way he said that. That sounds like he has multiple arms, and I don't like that.
You have multiple arms, Dad.
Multiple sets, you know what I mean.
Yes.
And come out here!
Never once did you consider tracking us and then becoming tracked yourselves.
I have no excuse there because he's correct. I was too focused on other things. But I still don't see anything. I just hear voices.
You start. Would all three of you mind going ahead and making me a perception check with disadvantage?
I was about to ask, could Barton try and see if he can smell something instead of seeing it?
You can try.
So I'll roll the disadvantage.
I don't know how to do that, so I'm just gonna roll 2d20.
Yeah, that's fair because you don't have yours.
So the lowest is a 10 plus
Yeah, all
whatever
right.
I
So,
have.
Mr. Kyle. Well, you know.
Esther.
Yeah. For Barton, the smell of the dead creatures around is making things a little too difficult. Eventually, with a little bit more of the knowledge that it is explicitly probably a creature doing it, given all the voices, rather than the idea of it being, just some trap or some force, you really strain to pay attention, and you're able to start seeing that some of the snowflakes that are falling gently end up eventually just disappearing in a general shape about like maybe 6 or 7 feet above where Margaret is, and forming a little bit of a semi-spherical shape from which you can start to see a bare outline of some form of creature. You can tell that it's there and it's slightly moving.
Is it near where I threw my dagger?
It is, in fact. You would presume your dagger is in it.
Fantastic. I will train my bow in that space. Say, you're tough ignoring a blade in you like that. Drop her now.
In me? That's a great joke.
It's not in me, dear brother.
Oh. I think it's about time to take our leave. Don't you think, Peck? This game grows dull.
Perhaps, but maybe we deign to fulfill their desperate plea of seeing us just once.
I suppose it won't make a difference. Very well.
As that contour of where the snowflakes are currently falling begins to become much more visible for everyone, you end up seeing this rather monstrous and large form, probably about 15 feet tall and 20 feet back when all things are taken into account, of a sort of scorpion centaur-esque man with 2 torsos and a split head and 4 arms. I will reveal the image momentarily. I realize that given the map we're on and that this one doesn't have a thing, I'm gonna change this real quick. This looks like this.
What is
Oh.
that?
As the shimmer starts to disappear and it becomes fully visible before just a few seconds later it begins tromping off.
Where is my wife?
Still in one of their arms.
Okay, no, I'm definitely shooting it with an arrow.
Go ahead and make me an attack.
I don't know what my bonus is.
That's
but
okay. You end up shooting and it collides into its back and simply impales itself there with a little reaction from the creature.
I want to yell at it to come back, but
One of
I don't want to risk the children that I'm with, so...
One of the heads turns around and with one arm points
You've done enough gawking.
as a bright flash of colors appears before everyone's eyes, and you can't see for about 10 seconds. And when the vision clears up, it is completely gone. There are tracks leading out, but it is nowhere near in sight.
Dad, what was that thing?
Dad, what was that thing?
You don't know. But you know that it took your wife, and that's not cool.
It's not a,
You're
it's not a
following, right?
manticore.
Yeah, it's definitely
certainly-
not a
it's-
manticore.
It's not a manticore. I look
No, it's a
furious. I open my
Ooh.
mouth and shut it a few times, and then just kind of let out a yell and slam my fist into a nearby tree, causing some snow to fall down. I don't know what it was.
Well, we're gonna find out, right?
I'm torn right now between following it and taking them home because I don't know what that is and I don't know that I can handle it. But if I go home now, I'm giving up on her. There's no way I'll find it again. And you see a very difficult and pained expression on your father's face right now. He's weighing two very difficult options.
I'm gonna put my hand on his shoulder. There's three and a pup of us, and 1 to 2 of
Only
it.
Some of its dirty tricks.
Yeah, it can go invisible, and it can blind us very quickly. But if we don't,
It's got a bit of magic.
Look,
yeah,
she's been hunting for years. She's alive, I know it. If we can just maybe distract it or something, get her away from there. But it's dangerous.
well,
This
that
wasn't
was-
supposed to be... Well, none of this was supposed to happen, but... And he grits his teeth and looks in the direction of the tracks. We've got to try.
These ones are going to the southwest now.
And then so are we.
all right.
Given the
Let's
speed
go.
at which they went, it would probably be important to step it up to a faster pace.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, if that's possible, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving at +1 speed lets you move 4 tiles each day, but makes you more vulnerable to being ambushed and makes it difficult for you to avoid encounters.
I'm not worried about that right now. There's nothing else in these hills that scare me. And everything in these hills should be afraid of me right now.
You end up going for the remainder of that day, following the tracks easily until your legs are completely giving out. You want to keep running, but you can't go anymore.
And it's not fair to make them do it because I know they're not ready for this kind of thing anyway. I set up camp, but there's no jokes this time. There's a few half-hearted attempts, but it's hollow.
We've got a few things in our favor. I mean, Teffrid, you can do stuff with water. You might be able to make some turn some of that snow into ice under their feet or something like that. I can make some illusions.
Yeah, maybe we can set up like an ambush or something. Maybe if we can get the drop on it.
Kind of going through my own pack. I have my my hunting tools, some traps, some devices that will be helpful at a later time. You both got good heads on your shoulders. I think that might be the right tack here. Find it, get ahead of it, set something up.
Yeah, try to throw it off its game. It seems very well. How many of the things that you fight are boastful, Dad?
Some, but not many, I'll be honest. But that helps us, right?
Yeah. Then if it's arrogant, then well, It's how it always happens with the small folk. People are always going to underestimate us.
If it thinks it's the hunter, then it's not going to think that we're the hunters. So if it thinks that it's hunting us while we're hunting it, then we can hunt it while it's hunting us hunting it.
What he said.
Yeah. I don't want to treat anyone here as bait, but yes. We just have
I
to,
can.
we have
I'm
to be
pretty
smarter
quick.
than it.
I'm quick on my feet. I can do it.
No.
I mean, if there's going to be any bait, it's going to be one of my little illusions.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you can do that. But what if it knows it's an illusion?
Ah? Oh, it knows that something made the illusion.
It seems to be pretty good at tricking the eyes.
Well, either way, we've got 3 heads, it's got 2. We can
That's true.
outthink it a little bit, at least.
Right.
I really think taking advantage of that arrogance is going to help us in the long run.
Yeah.
It doesn't know what I have in this bag of tricks here.
It doesn't know us at all.
Anyway, rest up. We'll be right out first thing in the morning.
All right.
And we do that.
Mm-hmm.
Waking up in the morning, putting camp away quickly this time, thinking of what's to come.
You quickly make your way to the tracks that now lead to the northwest, and you end up finding yourself at a small location, which I should probably have put people's tokens actually at. That would, tend to help. You end up following through the last bit of tracks as it leads to a small clearing where there's a few different trees, each covered in snow. This is the only path nearby. There's pretty steep cliffs on either side, not too dissimilar to the previous location, but with a lot more trees and a small lake that is frozen over.
Seems as good a place as any.
I bet if we are smart about it, we can drop something heavy on that lake while it's on it, and
Or turn the ice into water.
that's true.
I tussle Teffrid's hair again and say, see, this is that quick thinking, you know? We've got this.
Yeah.
Tracks go a little cold in this area, as this has had a lot more wind-swept area that rolls over it, so you're gonna have to go searching around to figure out where it went from here.
I'd like to try and be cautious and careful here, because I don't know where that thing is. So I do have a knife in my hand, but I'm going to look around. Can I look around? And I kind of just gesture to them to be careful, to be silent.
You take a few steps forward, trudging through the snow. Your
And
feet.
as you turn to gesture towards them to be safe, you take one more step, and something under your foot entirely gives out as sharp pain spikes through your foot.
I go, stay back!
You end up pushing off it very painfully. It pierces through your hiking boots as you do so, and the ground beneath that snow gives way, and you see that the pit would have been about probably 2 feet deep, with luckily only being decently, impaled on one of your feet by it. You almost lost a toe.
See, this is why we go slowly.
Right. Did they set that up?
You turn around and look at it, and you see that it's the small spike pit trap, and there's a lot of blood on it, not much of it fresh from you. As you, continue to look at it, it looks like it's made out of animal ribs that are pointed to be spiky and outwards.
You know,
Yeah.
they're not the usual animals we hunt, but things are animals.
If I had to guess, they either made this kind of trap or they found it and they've been trying to lead us into them.
Do the spikes look like the spikes that we saw on the thing?
Like on the creature? No. Completely
Oh,
different
okay.
kinds of animal spikes.
As
They're
someone
made
that
of
goes on a lot of walks,
ribs.
I'd like to imagine that I do have a walking stick. Going to start poking the snow to see if there are any more of these traps waiting to be triggered.
You start poking the ground as you go. You take a few steps through the snow. The snow gives way underfoot, and every step is filled with a bit of caution and a bit of paranoia, as even the simple act of the snow compressing beneath your feet is, you're having to second guess yourself of, is that just it falling through, or is that the ground falling underneath me?
It's not pleasant, but I'm glad that it's me doing it and not my boys.
Are the boys following behind you?
Yes, very
Yeah,
carefully.
pretty much exactly in his footsteps.
As you get to the tree, while towards the back of the little caravan you've made, right as you touch near the tree, there's a little bit of a soft red glow underneath the snow, right underneath Alba's feet.
Oh no!
That's
Do I have
slowly
time to do
intensifying.
anything?
This over here.
It's
It
getting
looks like-
brighter and brighter and slightly
if
warm.
I can, I'd like to run over and try to push him out of the way.
You absolutely can.
Oof.
It reaches its
Teffrid!
kind of critical color, looks like the snow is about to come up and explode, and it disappears as if nothing was there, with a little in the background. Just
Wait, I heard a laugh?
Yes,
From what direction?
from the trap, from the
It actually
red
was
circle.
where the trap was, there's just a single lone, like, hot stone that has lightly melted the snow in the middle.
What?
Nothing. They're playing with us. That means they're close.
That's...
Arms at the ready, boys.
Yeah. Barden is pulled out his crossbow and has Misty almost tucked into his coat to ensure that she doesn't wander off.
Misty is very happy being carried and doesn't understand what all the scare is about, but she likes being warm and in cuddles.
So cute. I love her. Now this ice, is it like
It's solid. It is frozen over.
fantastic? I have no reason to assume that they wouldn't do something fucked up with the ice, so I am...
The path leads generally to the top right. You're kind of moving from bottom left to top right.
Yeah.
You start to hear a little bit of cracking underneath the ice as you realize that this part over here, the snow, goes into ice. This snow is on top of the ice.
And I relay that information to the boys. Careful now. There's ice here.
Yeah.
Once again, towards the back of the group, as you hear the ice crackling. It's getting louder in the back as the ice is lightly raising up until, almost in the blink of an eye, the creature bursts from the ice, grabs Missy, and disappears. Missy is still there.
But
Ah!
Right, so Missy is still here?
Missy
Yep.
is still there.
I thought you said.
Yeah, it reached out, it grabbed Missy, and then went under the ice. And the next moment, Missy is still there. Missy is.
The
The
ice
ice is not
completely fine.
broken. Missy isn't gone. Nothing has changed.
Illusion.
Barton button his coat up a little bit higher to keep Missy a little bit more secured.
I'm gonna just pat Missy's head. That's the real one?
Yeah, it's the real Missy.
Okay, that's... Huh.
She licks your fingers as you do so. They end up getting very cold immediately afterwards.
I would imagine I have gloves on.
They still get cold.
That's true.
It's a big sloppy look. As you get to the other side of this lake, you hear a little bit more crackling that leaves you with quite a bit of upset concerns as you keep on making your way through. You end up stumbling across a few more traps, but the rest of them are much simpler. It's like a little bit of oil spilled on top of the ice to make it extra slippery, or just a area where you end up seeing that a little bit of ice was already cut out for you to intentionally fall through.
Thank God for walking sticks.
Yeah, those sorts of things are ones that you'd be very well prepared for.
Once it feels like we've gotten to the other end of this very strange disaster field of traps, I'd like to make sure that they get to what I consider to be stable footing off of the ice. Is that possible at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Once we get to stable footing, I'm gonna say, there, see? Wasn't so bad, just a few, and I, like, shake my leg. Minor inconveniences, but we're making great time.
Do you have your backup boots?
Of course. Just, waiting to find a good place. Don't want to do it right here.
As you move over and sit down on one of the nearby snow piles to actually start changing your boot, you realize that the snow pile that you're sitting on didn't give way as much as you thought. So eventually you turn around and look at it, and you end up determining that that is in fact a rather frozen over corpse of a large, like, panther-esque mountain lion.
More of these, huh? Well,
If Manticores don't kill for fun, I think this thing might.
I think it's playing with us. Probably a bit more exciting than a panther. But,
Yeah.
well, it's bitten off a bit more than it can chew, I think. I take a look at Barton and Teffrid. How are they feeling right now?
Teffrid is not looking scared. He's looking more confused.
Barton is kind of scared shitless.
I get that vibe, and that's why he kind of stops to do the wellness check. And he kind of walks over to Barton and puts his hand on your shoulder and says, "Listen, sometimes when we're out on a hunt, things don't go exactly how you expect it. But Margaret's a fighter. She's been doing this just as long as I have, maybe longer. It'll be okay. We'll catch up to her. We'll handle whatever that thing is, and we'll all get out of here. Get right back to the city."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stick with me. It'll be okay.
Why is it?
You have one more action of movement right now, which you take to the northeast. Once again, you have exhausted your movement for the day, even at an extended pace. It's been 2 days since you've seen Margaret.
And an important note, every single time you're tracking the tracks, they're so fresh that you feel like it's just up overhead. But it's been like that for the past 2 days.
You are just behind this creature.
I think it's messing with us. I mean, it's definitely messing with us, but
Yeah. We're having a much less exciting dinner than the first time that we broke bread here under the stars. And I'm kind of like looking off into the distance, kind of thinking, what can I do? So it's a very distracted, yeah. I think it's watching us. I think it is only just far enough ahead of us so that it can kind of double back and then watch us. But I don't say that because I don't want to scare the boys.
Fair enough.
I'm mindful. Yeah. Well, means tomorrow might be the day we catch it then, doesn't it?
I certainly hope so. I wonder if anyone else found this thing before we did.
Well, let's hope not.
Yeah.
A little bit more during your camp watch, you end up discovering that there's a bear that's been killed nearby as well. Completely frozen in the winter night, in the dark sun night. The creatures just keep getting bigger and bigger.
It's showing off.
This
Trying
way,
to
I wouldn't
scare
be
us.
surprised. Yeah. At this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets that manticore we were hunting in the first place.
Well, certainly make things easier for us, wouldn't it?
Hmm.
The joke falls flat.
You start up on the next day of your journey, continuing at good pace. You make your way forward and you end up coming to a small stream crossing where the only area, given that a lot of the water is moving rather quickly and you wouldn't want to, freeze your legs off at this time, would be a little bit of a, there's a few rocks that end up creating a bit of a bridge that you can jump across. And for a moment as you look across to prep yourself for jumping over, you look to the side and you see a head on a pike, but as you turn to actually see it, as opposed to just out of the corner of your eye, it's just a particularly gangly sapling.
Don't like it. But
Why is it?
The tracks lead forward. So,
I guess we keep going.
Yeah.
Creepy, but
you take your hop across the little brook and you take a step on the rock. and you take a step on the rock. And as you go to take a step on the third rock, you fall through it, because the third rock is not real as your foot passes straight through it and into the water. It, in short order after, begins to itch quite a lot.
Oh,
Oh.
right.
Underneath
What
of the
does-
water, as your foot like passed through the rock, it wasn't super obvious. It wasn't painful like a spike, but there was scratching, almost like that of bramble.
Once you pull
Oh,
your
I
foot
see.
out, you can actually investigate and see that you've got a few very, very small lacerations on your leg, more abrasions than anything else.
Hmm. Do they seem poisoned? Would I have any idea at this point?
It certainly feels that way.
Okay. I take a bottle of, I'm going to assume I have some anti-poison potions on me just as part of my typical hunting
Yeah.
kit,
Totally.
and I will drink one of them.
You successfully make sure that it's not poisoned, but it still hurts to walk.
Yeah, I'm sure it does, but
Because
Put on a
that's now
brave
2
face.
feet related injuries for you, and your
I
pace would
know.
now be, your maximum pace would be reduced by 1.
oh, great.
So your speed in combat would be 20, and your speed out of hold would be 2 at standard and 3 at fast. You push yourself a little further to continue the tracks, and finally, you start to get a bit of hope. You see somewhat ahead of you, there's a few what looks like ruins. There's a bit of stonework strewn about, and as you're there, ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Let's get you guys down there.
Mm-hmm.
You can see on the right side, the creature is currently facing away from you. Margaret is tied up on the rocks nearby. The creature is tending itself to a big stew on a pot. It's cooking it up. It's nice and warm. It's got a deer tied up nearby as well. It's preparing to cook Margaret.
Oh, fantastic.
You're probably a little ways further than this, probably an extra like 30 feet to the left. Well, boss, it seems completely oblivious to your presence. It's humming a little tune as it cooks. It actually smells decently good.
You see some of the mushrooms you were talking about being tossed in.
Damn it has good taste.
Damn it.
We could have been friends! You bastard! Anyway,
We could bond over food. It's just not that food.
don't eat my wife! That's my... Never mind. I gesture for the boys to get low, down, and to quiet. And I just kind of whisper, don't let your guards down. We've seen the traps it likes to set. This whole field here could be dangerous.
This is all a trap. I just know it is.
We know it plays with illusions. This might not even be real. I would like to assume over the course of the last week of travel that I have carved walking sticks for them as well, so that they can do the same testing the ground before they step thing that I've been doing, more or less unsuccessfully.
Oh no, is that actually the walking stick that Barton would have had in the... Oh...
Probably. These are probably the same walking sticks, yeah.
Yeah, made with love.
Made with love.
From your paw and your friend's paw. Sure.
What is that that yellow
That's a bit of billowing grass that's like poking out from above some of the snow on. It's much taller. It's probably about like 2 feet, 3 feet tall, as opposed to most of the rest of it, which, despite probably being that long, is much more matted down. It's almost like a wheat a little bit, but not as, cookable. So what do the three of you do?
Well, we've been making plans for this moment. Talking about setting a trap, setting an ambush, doing all kinds of things. So with your
He's
skill sets,
looking like he's making pretty good, progress on this. And if you don't do something soon, he's already taken the deer off and cutting it up into bits and putting it in the soup.
yeah, right.
When he's done with that, he'll probably do similar to Margaret.
Okay.
If we tree's probably close enough where we can knock some of that snow into the pot, get his attention from that direction, and sneak it behind.
It's worth trying. So we're going sneaky mode, trying to kind of go around without him noticing us. I've got my bow drawn. I'm going to wait for the perfect moment, but I want to make sure that I'm not in the same place as the kids, because I don't want him to see me and then see them, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
So like whatever directions we're going in opposite direction, because I'm going to try and hit him, and I don't want him to notice them.
The kids end up moving up and hiding behind, the, tree over there, and you end up,
Like that. So when they distract him, I'm gonna shoot.
Teffrid still has his control water that he uses to pull some of the snow from the upper cliff face there onto and into the soup, which slightly displeases the monster as it starts to grumble to the other half.
I told you we should have set this up elsewhere. Ugh.
Patience, brother.
It doesn't seem distracted at all.
I mean, it's talking to itself about that. Its
No, I'm
focus
gonna take
is
this-
already on the soup. It's already kind of distracted.
Fair as hell. I'm gonna take this opportunity to pull back my bowstring, say a few words in a magical language, and let an arrow fly, which, as it hurtles towards the beast, splits into, I'll say, a baker's dozen of arrows that I'm attempting to pummel into the flesh of this creature before I duck back behind the wall.
Is that a spell attack or is that a regular attack?
I'd have to find out, because the thing that I'm
take
doing
a choice.
is like,
Just
oh,
snap decision.
Okay. No, this is just a ranged weapon attack.
Okay, go ahead and give me a roll. $19.
But I saw it land on
Yeah.
the one briefly.
It goes straight into the creature a bunch of times and it begins to recoil.
Fantastic. While I
Hold on.
Oop.
Oh, gotcha. The creature begins to stumble backwards and it's looking around just like, ugh. And it's clearly disoriented and heavily wounded, as it's got like these 12 different bolts, like most of which are in its chest and a few of which are in its neck, and it's keeling over, and one of its hands spills the pot over onto the ground, melting all the nearby snow.
Barton is going to use a minor illusion to create an image of himself, like crouched down with his crossbow ready, next to this wall, like he's peeking out around it. Not moving at all, just that little image of himself there.
All right. He's got that spray sticker.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the beastie doing?
It's currently recoiling. It's like very much hurt. Like it seems like very much hurt by the volley. All of them poking out of it. It's like two of the hands are brushing out at it, down at it, and the other two are like kind of waving around a little bit desperately. It almost looks scared. Almost.
Margaret is flailing a little bit. She's got her arms and legs both tied to the pole there, and she's trying to do something as she's, looking at Teffrid and looking at Vesper, and she's trying to communicate something, but she can't.
I'm gonna rush recklessly. I'm gonna dash up to it. And I would like to do two things. I would like to stab into the rope that's tying up my mom, and also scoop up some of those coals from the fire with the Kapesh and throw it up into its eyes.
Okay, in which order?
Knife then embers.
Okay. You quickly manage to cut your mother free, and just as you finish doing so, the creature becomes aware of you being there, and as it turns around, you scoop some of the some of the coals from beneath it and spark it up straight into its eyes, and it begins to recoil, and you go forward and you stab it straight through the chest, and it falls over. It's lying there dead.
That felt too easy.
I
Mom,
really
are you
hope-
okay? Ma?
She is standing there silently.
Its body starts to. It sits in there stationary for like 3 or 4 seconds until it slowly starts. Pieces of skin start to kind of fleck off, almost as if you're watching a time lapse of its rotting, as its flesh boils down into soup and its bones are all that's left.
And
Until
in
those two
short
then
order
crack
after,
and turn to dust.
in short order, Margaret has the same.
And then from nowhere in particular, you hear, "Arrogant we are! Smarter than us you are, right?" And then behind Festivir, a bit louder, you hear, "Just showing off we are, right?" And then you see him start to be levitated in midair again.
Oh, no,
Am I
no, no.
able- Am I able
The
to
hunters
breathe?
hunting the hunters hunting the hunted.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the creature rematerialize and throw Festivir into a boulder behind it. And then it quickly makes its way over to Teffrid and
Oh no. Do I have
attempts
any
to
kind
grab
of-
him as well.
Can I stab it with my blade as it's trying to leave me here?
You can. You slice straight through its back leg, and you
Well,
feel
he
like
got
that
thrown
would...
into a boulder.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to stick with you. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
hurt you. I'm just trying to catch
Oh,
a
gotcha,
ride.
gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah,
you...
runs forward, sticks in, tries to stay on.
Mhm, pretty much.
He gets knocked out of the way again.
You should have control of the creature, by the way.
Oh, okay.
It's time, brother. Games are fun, but time for fun to end.
Time doesn't last forever, brother.
Never, never, never.
Which token is Teffrid?
The one that's closer.
right in
The
front of
one
us.
closer to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Finally, it grabs Teffrid with its larger claw and starts. "You don't get it yet, do you? Then again, you've never seen Gorpek before." And it goes from smiling to a deadly calm that you didn't think would be able to be replicated in a monstrosity, and says, "Your hunting trip is over, halfling. Time to die."
And I would like
Um,
to, even though I am not
And
doing
you
well.
see its what's it
Stinger.
called? You see its
Rear.
stinger start twitching.
Barton is gonna try and shoot the tail with his crossbow.
You shoot straight into it and it pierces it, and it quickly, probably about half a second later, the arrow gets spat out as the wound around it begins filling back in with flesh.
Why?
Am I able to move or no?
You start, like, stumbling forward, standing up, and as you see as Teffrid is getting lifted up by the arms and the stinger getting ready to lurch, you start being invigorated with a second wind and a burst of energy.
Okay. I would like to reach into my bag of prepared things that I brought with me, and pull out another vial that is separated into 2 containers of different liquids. And I am going to charge at the creature and yell, Teffrid, Barton, run! And then I am going to jump and smash it onto the creature's back. And as the liquids combine, there is an explosion of flame from that point.
It ricochets, sending Teffrid flying off to the side. The back of the creature is lit aflame. It screams a little bit. It is actually painful as opposed to most of the other things so far, which have been mere pittances.
And if I am still alive at this point, despite the explosion, I am clinging to it.
Yeah. You are very pissed now, Mr. Monster.
An annoyance not unexpected.
Trixie Halfling tricks us again.
Humanoid races have a habit of self-sacrifice.
Let's make
The
sure sacrifice
self-sacrifice you will have.
is sacrifice.
They say that simultaneously, like almost talking over each other.
You reach down and lift up Pastovir by the neck and, like, hold him, like, face to face to face.
No.
Their breath reeks.
Barton is gonna grab Tefford and start running.
No, we got to. Where's Mom? We can't leave them yet.
He told us to run. We're running.
I'm going to do a quick scan before Barton drags me away. Do I see any trace of my mom?
There are a few tracks that lead in another direction that was not the one set up here.
That way.
As you head off in search of those tracks, you make it about...
Fun.
Go ahead.
Without the creature turning around or moving, you hear it say, "Listen well, halflings. Make sure we are not followed. Consider this your and everyone's last warning."
No legends spread without survivors.
Unfortunately, not everyone needs survive.
Do it, brother, do it!
And you see the stinger stop twitching and finally find its mark.
It takes maybe an eighth of a second to go from all the way behind it to straight forward and all the way through Vesper. It is unimaginably fast. Vesper ends up being able to cling to one last thing in his little pouch before it falls to the ground and he's losing most of his grip. You have a few last words in a last action as you're there dying on that stinger.
I'm going to think that I am holding onto the stinger with one hand and looking past the creature if I can still see Teffrid.
You can.
I'm going to mouth that I love him, and then I'm going to hold the thing that I was able to pull out of my bag, which is a very magical, very dangerous crystal, something that Teffrid would recognize as something that I have told him is not a toy, a large purple crystal, and I am going to hold it up and crush it in my hands, and we are both consumed in an explosion.
For a brief moment, it's nothing but a bright purple light as it glows almost, actually a bit more like a magenta one. And it actually brings you a bit of humor to be like, that's all. And then it actually has an implosion and it in and out. And one of your arms that was holding him is missing. The rest of them have the scaly armor on them seared. And part of your stinger is also gone as it was partially inside of him. It is.
Ah, watch the bags! Watch the bags!
It's
Is
fine,
painful.
brother. This will test our abilities further.
Okay, yeah, no, run. Oh, shit.
As it turns around to look at you, you make your way running around the corner
Mm-hmm.
and following those tracks off into the distance. A few minutes go by, and unless it re-stealthed, you don't think it's following you.
What? Why?
I don't know. Don't know. Don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Do these tracks continue on forward?
They do, and eventually you find her tied up and bound just in the snow. She's nearly dead. She's almost frozen to death, and she's pretty dehydrated, but she's
Barton,
alive.
fire.
Yeah. Moving on it. Barton does so. Actually, let's get her a little bit further out. Oh, I know. Barton is gonna try and use Presty to warm her coat.
You do so, and it starts helping.
But we don't have time for fire. We have to get out of here. You lift one end, I'll lift the other. We can get out of here.
Right. Okay, move, quick.
Yeah.
You end up exhausting yourself. Whoops. As you carry her a good ways away, you move 4 more tiles, not even resting that night as you just push through. You've gained a level of exhaustion for not taking a rest that night, but you go until you actually do collapse after another full day of rest. You've started giving her water, and she eventually, while you're partway through the night, regains consciousness.
Ma, are you awake, Ma?
Her mouth trembles a little bit. She's able to barely open it, and she puts her arm on you and just gently caresses your cheek for a moment before she passes back out.
Okay, that's good. We can get her back. Focus on the positive. Keep it going. How far out are we from civilization?
Full days.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 days if we go fast.
Well, and they were, hills. Yeah, 2 days.
Yeah.
Like 2 days would get you like there
Oh.
because it's
Yeah.
hills. And that's if you're going
Is that-
fast. 2 days normally would
Okay.
get you here. But you're also already starting to get exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Once the mother recovers, she ends up going through a little bit of blaming herself because she's supposed to be the better of the two. She's supposed to be the one who's able to fight him off, and she got caught first. If it was the other way around, she could have saved him, sort of stuff.
No, I don't know if that's true. That thing, whatever it was, it said it wanted us to live,
Yeah.
spread its legend, or whatever.
I mean, I know I'm not talking about it. I'm. Oh gods. Oh gods.
She rests through the night, and when the morning comes, she continues that conversation with actual clarity and a full thought on her mind. She makes a rather convincing argument and casts a bunch of spells and says, "We're going back there, and if he's still there, we'll handle it. But I hope not. I want to bring him back."
Can you repeat that phrase for me really quick?
She's saying she's made sure that y'all are much less likely to be able to be ambushed with a bunch of spells and the awareness of the situation now. And she wants to go back there so she can revive him. If we don't do it now, she might not be able to because, you only have a day for it.
No, you can't go back alone. I'm going with you.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're sticking together. I'm not.
Okay.
And she grabs you
Okay.
on the back of your head and holds you close. Not unlike how Missy's being held.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If oh, if you two are going, then
No, Barton, you can go. No, you can leave. It's okay. It's
I
okay.
really can't. I'm good at all this, but we're so far out. If we split up, that thing will.
He makes a point. He makes a good point.
That's true. All right. Don't worry. You won't be going anywhere alone either. Okay? Okay. We can do this. We can do this.
Can we? Bolts didn't do anything. Arrows didn't do anything. Knives didn't do anything.
Fire did.
Fire barely did anything. If we go back there, it'll just kill us.
Then its goal isn't save it. Besides, I don't even know if that was its home.
Neither do I. We don't know enough to not know things, and it let us go once, but who's to say it'll actually be interested enough in us the second time to let us go again, and
Look, I
Barton,
get that you're not. No, go ahead.
I know, but I can't. You can't just leave him back there, you know?
oh, I know.
I'd do the same for you.
I know.
It's, oh. Besides, I gotta know. You know, I gotta know. It's got those two great big heads and it decides to be cruel? Why? Why? Was it came from that? Why?
All right. I'll go along.
Okay.
Do we have any more bottles of that fire stuff?
I look to my mom.
She doesn't, but she manifests some. He casts a few spells and ends up filling it up with intense amount of fire. She's very adept with her spell weaving. You start to get the feeling that her statements about perhaps she might have been able to protect him if things were different might have actually been true.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we all have we can fight back at least a little bit.
I hope.
You make your way back, and with a whole lot of supervision and paranoia and making sure to watch out for it. Does that do it? Yeah. You manage to make your way back and start looking around. As you do so, go ahead.
Oh, I was about to say I'm immediately going to the spot where it happened.
It's slightly filled in with a little bit of snowfall, but nothing significant. And you realize that given that you were a very far distance away, there is a hell of a lot more that got taken out nearby than what you would have thought. The entire area beneath the ground and has, like, all of the dirt and snowfall has given way and disappeared as part of that implosion that occurred. You search around for a big chunk of the day, but he is nowhere to be found.
Mom, what was that? That Dad used.
I'll tell you if we don't find him.
Okay. I'm gonna start looking down into the crater, or what I'm calling it a crater. The absence of things.
Yeah,
it sounds like you're describing.
Crater is valid. Crater is valid.
Fine. It seems like less like an impact and more like an ice cream scoop of death.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as you're
Hold the bag of holding in a bag of holding.
Mm-hmm.
and as you're pushing stuff to either side and the into the little bit of snowfall that remains, eventually your hand touches something much, much colder. And it almost freezes immediately as your hand touches metal.
Whoa. I'm gonna pull.
It appears to be some sort of square. It's after a little bit more pushing to the side, it looks like the top of a container, like almost like a coffin, but not really. It's too small to be a coffin for most people.
Is it like a lockbox?
Yeah,
What's this?
probably about. At the moment, it looks like only a foot by a foot, but
That's a
it's
pretty
probably
big lockbox.
bigger once it It's probably slightly bigger once you start to pull. If you start to pull it out more, but that's for something later. Right now, you're looking for your dad.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on. Keep that in mind for later. Maybe it's something. Okay. All right. Maybe out over here. I'm gonna check around behind the tree. Just maybe something scattered.
There's nothing anywhere. All of you search for the remainder of the day.
Kind of defeated. Teffrid's gonna come back and kind of sit down on the edge of the crater after the day of searching.
Your mom ends up gently explaining to you that it was a crystal from one of the crabs they ended up fighting one time that ended up having void control as one of its things, and I always told him to get rid of it, and he always... I guess he kept on to it for that. Idiot.
So he's gone.
She doesn't give you an answer.
What does that mean, void control? What does that mean? I'm not as good as magic as you guys are.
Oh no. It's when it's rather than on the normal. And she just starts crying. And she, goes up and grabs and holds you tight.
And Teffrid's gonna hold her back, also starting to cry. Now the realization of the scenario. Now that last candle of hope is just gone.
After a little bit, she eventually steels herself and starts setting up a campfire. We'll rest and then we'll head out in the morning. I need to get back. Tell people not to come out here anymore. So, contact a censor or perhaps the guard and get someone else to deal with it, someone better.
Should we name it? Because I almost don't want to.
You won't. You won't have to.
While the campfire's gonna get set up, I'm gonna kind of slide down the crater to the metal lockbox.
It's still pretty firmly stuck in the ground, but you have a small little pick shovel that you can use to start making some of the way for the parts that are still buried.
What kind of metal is it?
Some sort of gray metal. Could be like a steel or an iron, could be like some sort of like steel mithril alloy. Probably not. Looks much more normal metal. Whatever it is, it hasn't corroded, so it's been buried for most of it. It's been buried quite tight. The entire soil underneath the snow here is, in fact, rather exceptionally tightly packed. Much tighter than most of the dirt is.
Huh. Almost feels like it's put here on purpose. Sorry, guys. I just found this. I'm gonna keep digging it out and try to see if I can't find the latch.
Eventually, it ends up being about 1.5 feet by 3 feet, and you manage to pull it out, and it reveals itself to be a like chest.
What's this doing here? Actually, what is this place? Mom, do you know what this place is?
She's just kind of sullenly staring into the fire right now.
Right. Okay. Is it locked?
It is. The lock doesn't seem to be very secure. It looks almost ceremonial, the lock. You could probably just break it pretty easily.
I've got... Do I not have my thieves' tools on me?
You do.
Okay. Like literally on me. They're not in my inventory. I should fix that. Oh, no, there they are. I'm dumb. I should know a picture. Okay.
You start fiddling with it. Go ahead and give me a roll and we'll just figure out how long it takes.
Yeah. Pretty long.
It takes a good while, but eventually you manage to get it open. And there's a bunch of different things inside it. in particular, a lot of weird coins that are completely unrecognizable. They're not imperial coins, and they're not from the kingdoms either. There's also a few different interesting little curios, like a few pieces of written parchment that would certainly fetch a pretty penny. There's a few sets of clothes. In general, a lot of these seem to be elements for like some sort of burial of someone who may have been buried nearby, as like some sort of thing for like continuing life, or perhaps just as somebody's emergency supplies in case something happened. The two most interesting things, however, are a mask and a shield, each of which have this weird glaring face on them. Give me just a moment, I need to change the name for this. Go ahead and keep going. I need to set some stuff up real quick.
Okay. As Teffrid's looking through this, his curiosity is getting the best of him, but his tears are still kind of streaming down his face as he's looking through. I have no idea what all this is. What? Barton, have you have ever seen anything like this?
Barton barely looks up and he says, "No, no."
Right. Right. Maybe it's... Huh. Maybe that's a nice thought. Maybe that's, Hey, hey, Mom.
Yeah.
You know, you and Daddy were always saying, try to find a positive light, look on the bright side.
Yeah.
I think, maybe we've got one last gift.
He goes down and picks up one of them and wipes it off to smear a little bit of the dirt that has been underneath it, and you're able to completely see the just how bright the red on it is.
Oh my God, gods.
There you go. It should be revealed to you.
All right.
There should be two things.
Oh yeah. Red Ghost mask and the Red Ghost shield.
Each of these have weird but similar icons emblazing each of them that end up creating this ghastly shape up on them in this with this red and silver contrast. As to what they are, you don't know, but you know that somebody would probably pay a lot for the rest of them.
Are they metal?
The one on the shield is made of metal, and the mask is made of some sort of wood.
Huh. I bet whoever knows what these things are, might pay a good bit for them. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay.
Mom's not too engaged about it, just kind of giving you back the item and turning around and looking into the crater.
Thanks, Dad.
Teffrid doesn't see it, but she's just staring into the crater and shaking her head no, and just in her head calling him an idiot for doing it. Barton, anything else you do in this scene?
Honestly, he's gonna actually try and go to bed a little bit earlier, hoping to not have to deal with this right now.
Makes sense. After about 6 more days of travel, given that you go a little slower once you start getting closer to normal person territory, you finally make it back into town and start. And she pays very well for the few days at an inn that lets you rest up very well. It's painful, and she's withdrawing a little bit, and she's trying to give you a few final words of just trying to encourage you to go out much more on your own. Sorry. There you go. You travel a little bit more north this time around. Eventually, you end up realizing that you should probably, try to do something, since Mom isn't really... She's content at the moment to just live a few months just living. You've never been poor. You've never been rich, but you've never had to struggle, and right now is no different. Just, she's got a lot of stuff stored up.
During those months, Teffrid will try to find buyers for the coins, but he's gonna hold on to that mask and shield, that really, really weird mask and shield. The faces on the shield don't happen to remind him of the creature, does it?
Not at all.
Not at all? Cool.
I mean, they're both scary, but that's about it.
Yeah, well, one of them can hurt him.
No, there's still time for the other one to hurt him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There have never been cursed items beneath an ancient ruin.
Never. You go out, you end up scouring for a while, and eventually you end up getting some wealthy buyers from nearby Korheim who end up taking a fair bit of interest in the items, and especially the coinage underneath as part of deal, and you end up getting a very substantial sum payout for the trade. Somewhat excitedly, you return home and start telling Mom about it.
Mom. It finally happened. Someone bought the coins.
Well, that's good.
And I've been doing a lot of thinking about what happened and where it happened. And everyone we ask around here doesn't know. No one I've talked to so far knows. You don't know, I don't know, and we were there. I want to know. I think I'm gonna go find out.
She looks at you for a bit. You're not leaving, are you?
I mean, I can stay for as long as you need me to. This doesn't have to happen right away, but I have to know.
Right.
It's got to mean something, right? The fact that that awful thing, it led to this, it has to mean something. Or at least I'm going to make it mean something, right? That's what we always did. We always made it mean something.
It's starting to sound more like him. You know that? He was always so much better at that than I was.
He's going to start tearing up a bit. Oh.
Just whatever you do, do it smart, okay?
Okay.
There's always going to be someone that's one of the things that we have to deal with, and it hurts to think about, but there's always somebody out there who's bigger and stronger and tougher than us. They don't have to be, you know, clever.
Yeah.
Even something like him, he's got something. You just have to figure it out.
Yeah. I still do think he was arrogant, and whatever it is.
Just promise me 2 things, okay?
Okay.
Don't go looking for him, and if you see him again, run.
I promise.
She shakes you a little and starts preparing dinner. Relatively quietly. Not too many jokes end up happening, and after a few more days, you end up preparing yourself and head out on one of the caravans back towards the Volstrom territories. You make your way out and spend a few months studying up, learning about what it means to actually, learn about the past and learn about history and learn about figuring out how to make it happen. What other sort of things happen while you're out there?
Oh, I didn't think we were going this far. This is while he's in Kara, right?
No, this is once you've moved out to the Volstrom territories and you're getting your degree.
I might be stupid. I thought the school was in Kara.
No. School might have been in Korheim.
Right, hold
Yeah,
on.
it was probably either in Korheim or Kosvin.
Gotcha.
All these cuz. One of the rules when designing fantasy places and names is don't have them start with the same sound. I decided to ignore that. It's more realistic that way.
True.
So while he's out there studying, he's probably, well, first of all, trying to meet a lot of new people. He's trying to ask about. He's always carrying the mask and the shield, if not on him, very close to him at all times, trying to see if anyone knows, has any clue. And he's getting deep.
Eventually, you end up getting one person who, upon examining it, says that like some of the rimming on the shield looks like it might have been like a little bit of dwarf work given one of the techniques, but that's about all you get. And even then, that's not particularly conclusive.
That's funny. Well, in that case, the more and more he finds no one really having a conclusive idea, the more he's like, all right, I guess it's my job now. And he's going to spend his time focusing on studying, keeping up his practices, the skills that his mom and dad taught him, but studying up on archaeology, on Asian civilizations that we don't have much of an idea about, and trying to learn, figure out how we actually learn about that, and starting to apply to go out to, and once he nears his degree completion.
A little bit into your
Yeah.
time searching and learning up as you're getting your degree eventually. That's when the spell plague starts rolling around, and a lot of people start losing out on their magic, and the magic that still exists is weaker in potency or accuracy, or sometimes both. Makes things a lot harder.
Well, there goes the easy way. Good, I want to do this the hard way. No one's just gonna tell me what this is. I'm gonna figure it out. Don't need no magic to figure this out.
Good way to look at it.
Good old hard work. Never needed it before. Don't need it now.
You end up spending the next 2 or 3 years going around to a few different planar excavation sites, and one of them you end up making a pretty decent breakthrough on helping figure out what plane it ended up connecting to, and unfortunately for you, that means determining that it was in fact a planar collision site instead of just a site where there used to be ruins. But the other 3 sites you go to, you end up like being able to pretty decently figure out that, hey, these people did these sorts of things, and are having a little bit of fulfillment. But ultimately, none of them anywhere over here end up having anything remotely close to what's out by those ruins that where you fought the beast. So there's only one sort of thing that might actually let you start to have a better idea of those sorts of ruins, since it's clearly not on this side of the mountains.
Well, it's time to go home. Maybe I'll write Bartum. Maybe we can meet back up for a little bit before I head out. It's time to come home.
You head on home, you have a little catch up with, well, maybe tomatoes. You end up talking to the mother for a little bit.
I regale her with all the tales of the things I found, how I figured it out. It's very much nerd stuff, and I don't know how much she understands, but it's
She's
still
able
good
to
to talk.
follow enough as long as you don't
Yeah.
use proper nouns.
Fair enough. I start using descriptors like the the spiky place or the zoom room. I'll figure out what those mean later.
I'll figure out what those mean later.
Yeah, but I'm gonna end it with, and I think it's time for me to get back out there. I told you, I have to know. It's like the last thing that he did is to uncover this, and whatever it is, if I can figure it out, it's gonna be named after him. It's gonna be named after him.
That's the spirit, lad.
He found
Make
it
him
after
proud.
all. I try every day.
She has a big smile on her face. Eventually you end up hearing about how there's the big expedition down in the Wilderlands, in a great city that's doing a lot of research projects on a lot of the stuff nearby.
Mm-hmm.
You go and talk to Barton some, convince him that, maybe you should go down there. So you're here.
Oh, I convinced
and
him
you're
that we go
talking to
down there?
Barton.
I was actually imagining that Barton had already left.
I had imagined that I would meet him there, yeah. That is so much more tragic if I convince him to go. Holy shit.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Y'all
up to you
figure it
guys.
out. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean,
You're
it's up to you.
talking to
I
each
would
other
imagine
right
that
now.
Barton... I
For
thought
the
Barton
sake
had a
of-
connection, and that's how I ended
Yeah,
up there.
for the sake of Tefford not having Barton's death on his shoulders as well,
Yeah.
I think it is better if Barton was already gone.
Probably true.
Yeah. All right. And he's gonna end up heading to the city.
Would you like to actually follow the path? Because that path, leads you there.
I would love to.
Day 1 of travel to the city. Follow the road. We're finishing up pretty soon.
Yeah. Oh, that's 3, and then
Yep.
rest.
Day 2.
Do I need to worry about interacting with anything here? Or?
Not, you end up talking to, the diamond guards and making sure that everything's good, and they seem like decently competent people. There's probably a tiny bit of resentment that you keep buried pretty deep, just based on the fact that, if they hadn't let it through, it wouldn't have been a problem, but you managed to keep hold of it long enough to, make everything right.
Mm-hmm.
And you pass on through.
All right.
2. Day 2.
All right. Day 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well, day 3, the road there's.
Oh, sorry.
little.
I completely missed that.
Yep. Day 3.
Yeah, day 3. 1, 2, 3. Do I know which way to go?
South.
South. Fantastic.
Day 4.
Nice campsite out on a crossroads. Probably meet up with another caravan.
Yeah, you end up
exchange
having a
some
chat
stories.
to you sing a little song under the fire.
Mm-hmm. Is there a bridge there?
Yep. If
Okay.
there's a road across the river, there's a bridge.
Some more of the Badlands.
We'll
1.
stop counting now. I think you get the idea.
Yeah. I just want to. I like having the. Oh. And that's where the road ends.
Mm-hmm.
Is it still south from here? Oh, never mind. Found it. Huh. What's happening on this road to make it all
It's
broken up?
very dusty, and sometimes the road disappears.
Oh, okay.
It's not particularly well traveled,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually you make it there. And I will hop you over for in just a second.
All right.
That probably spoils it a little bit. Give me 2 seconds. Reset Fog of War.
Oh, that
Cool.
I like that a lot. Actually, I like how that worked out. I
There you
can
go.
see the text.
Yeah, well, those texts are also places you've already been to, so don't worry about it.
Okay. Gotcha. Just for the future, if there's ever a text thing on the map, I don't know if we'll be
Yeah,
able to see it
the
or not.
text will. I have multiple other pieces of text that aren't revealed. It's just that those are supposed to be places
Okay.
you already revealed.
Those are
but-
supposed to be. Okay.
Yeah.
Another crossroad, and now I know which way to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you get there. Yippee.
Perfect. Yippee!
And then, eventually you end up getting a lay of the land for the other places nearby.
Mhm. Layla Peak, that's the mines. Kark is wood. Oh, okay, I see.
And eventually you end up, after a good few... How long are you at the city before the Golgan Prelude ends up happening?
Probably right when he gets there. Is
Okay,
when
so
that happens.
you
Because
only spend, like-
the way we played it out was kind of like, hey, we met up. It's probably like 2 or 3 days after
Yeah,
he
so
gets there.
you
we
end up
go out in the
basically
woods.
just making sure that you know what's going on in the city, and you end
Mhm.
up following down. Let me do this real quick for you. You end up following directions to head down to the city that's across the yard until you get over. That's Skyrim music. Let's stop that.
Oh, shouldn't I?
You make your way over to this area. And you'd been getting some stories from the local hunters here who ended up describing that they found some ruins, and that eventually made its way back to town, which you picked up on quite quickly when you got here. This is the small town of Hirora. It ends up being pretty decently safe most of the time, given that there's 2 rivers nearby. And you follow your way around the little lake.
Oh, yeah. This is making sense with the map I was making in my head when we were walking through the woods.
Let me double check real quick. Yeah, just south of this, literally the tile just south of this is where the ruins are. But it is in fact on the other map, which I probably should have been aware of. But that's where it is. And then you run up, probably to here. And then you take refuge with Mithril here. And then, oops.
Whoopsie. We meet a cool new guy, didn't catch his name.
Mm-hmm. He
Their
stays
name?
behind.
Its name? I don't know, actually.
Jolly good time.
All we know is that he's a friend.
Yes.
You end up heading on back. And you get on this fancy little caravan because somebody in a city ways down the road has some interesting things to talk to you about. They called out by name, saying they were a friend of the family, and that's just something too much to pass up on. So you're heading down the road, and that's, in fact, where session 1 will start next week, or 2 weeks from now.
Yep.
Yippee! Realize it was a bit more monologue-y at the end for it, but I hope y'all tolerated it nonetheless.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you all for being here. I think that was rather good.
I like that quite a bit.
I
Thank
died
you all so much.
horribly.
You died horribly!
Thank you for the trauma, Aura!
Woohoo! Part 3, trauma! Let's go!
Woo!
Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for being here. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, my friends.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.